Hey guys, I was just thinking about DayZ, and I thought I'd come up with a list of things Rocket or whoever is making the standalone game could do to make it better, more fun to play. Because I got a pretty good list of things that I came up with. Some of them involve possibly putting in a class system. But to start out with, just some small things that'll fix some stuff is sound things that are kind of problems. The ocean is too loud, vehicles are too loud, and the mosquito is too annoying. So if you had a way to turn those down individually or just get rid of them completely, that would be great. Another thing is that the vehicles, which is one of the most fun parts of the game, is when you see somebody driving a vehicle, they're too rare for one thing, or maybe they're not so rare, but when they show up, people get them and they hide them off the side of the map where you can't get to them. So if there's some way to triple the rarity so they're less rare, that would be great. More vehicles, more fun. I think I have a way to do this, and it'll kill two birds with one stone. Another problem I have is that when you find good guns, you can only carry one or two in your backpack at a time. So if there's a way to get rid of guns, say you have an FAL, you come across a helicopter crash site and it has two FALs on it. You're not going to be able to carry all three of those guns. You're not going to need them. Maybe you could dismantle one or two of those, and each gun, depending on how high powered it is, has its own value. And when you get rid of it, it takes it out of the game, which makes the likelihood of somebody killing other players less likely because there's less guns in the game, which improves your score or whatever. Say an AS-50 is worth 100 points, an FAL is worth 50 points, a Winchester or shotgun's worth 10 points, something like that. And not only when you dismantle a gun, but if you find a dead body with guns on it and you hide that body, that would get rid of the guns, and all these points would accumulate. Once you get 1,000 points, you could go to the nearest vehicle spawn and you could spawn, a vehicle would spawn there because you've got enough points. That would increase the vehicles, and it would get rid of all these extra guns, make the game kind of safer, and it would kind of work together. I think it's a pretty good system. Unless you wanted to do something if the vehicle is out of its spawn for 4 hours, it would respawn. If somebody goes and hides it and doesn't, the problem is people hide these vehicles and they don't drive them around. They just use them for storage. I don't know, encourage people to use tents more or something. There's another thing about tents. I like that you can put items in them, but I think you should also be able to sleep in a tent. If you have low health, let's say, and you want to make yourself exposed and totally helpless, but you put yourself in a tent, every 3 seconds you gain 100 health for sleeping in it. That would be good. Another thing they could do with the sounds that would really make things interesting is the doves flushing sound when you hear doves fly off, and the gate creaking sound. These sounds are supposed to make the game really creepy, make it scary because it's a zombie game, but actually give them a purpose. If somebody comes within your visual range, make the doves fly off so it freaks you out and you know somebody's nearby. Maybe the gate creeping could mean that somebody actually sees you or something. I don't know. That would really freak people out and really make the game a lot scarier. Now I've heard that they're going to introduce some kind of dog companion or something. I don't know if this is true. Maybe it's just somebody spouting off. But I heard you're going to be able to whistle or something. You summon your dog and you could sick him on zombies or other players. Maybe he can carry things. That might be good, I don't know. But I was thinking about how that could work, and maybe the dog has some kind of tracking ability, and I was thinking maybe when you see a guy, or when you're bleeding, or when you see a guy bleeding, you actually leave a blood trail behind you, and you could track that around. Or maybe you could even, if you have a hunting knife, you could prick your own finger and really bleed really slow, but you could make a fake trail. Maybe you could put a handprint on a wall, but then people would know that was fake because you're not going to bleed the handprint onto a wall. But some kind of tracking would be good, maybe some footprints that you could see. And that got me thinking about classes, because I think there's a way to have some decent kind of classes that would make sense in a zombie apocalypse, and it would give you some cool little skills as well. Maybe have one guy that's a hunter. The deal is he survives because he's a hunter. They've got all these deer stands that makes sense that he's a hunter. Maybe he starts out with a bear trap along with his bandage and flashlight. Now he can, maybe he's the only one that could see these blood trails. Maybe he's a tracker too. He can track. Maybe that's his thing. And then maybe you've got a guy that's a gun store owner, or could be a DJ maybe, or maybe a police officer who can identify different gun sounds. So this would be a good guy to have in your party. If you're going along and you hear a gunshot off in the distance, he could tell you generally what direction it came from, because he'd see a little red hit marker on the circle around his screen. And then he could see a rounded off 100, 200, 300 meters, or just an estimate of how far away it was, and then the caliber of the bullet. It wouldn't tell you what gun, but it would say it's a 7.62 or it's a 9mm. And he could tell what kind of bullet, where it kind of came from, and about how far. That would be his skill. And if he's a police officer, maybe he could spawn with some kind of handcuffs. And here's the next thing I thought of. There needs to be some kind of negotiation thing that's better than just talking over your mic. Like, I was using the thing yesterday, I was like bluffing guys with a Makarov. I didn't have any ammo, but I was telling them to get on the ground, and they would do it, and then I would like tell them to count to 10, and I would leave. So if you could do that, you get somebody in a situation where they're helpless, and maybe you could like volunteer to disable your weapons for 3 minutes or something. You know how when you lower your weapon, there needs to be a button, there probably already is one, that just like lower your weapon. Because if you're like a guy with an axe, and you start walking towards a player, it looks like you're coming to kill a guy. That's dangerous looking. Or if you're just holding your gun out, you're looking right at a guy, people freak out. You need like a weapon lowering button. Like when you tell somebody that you're friendly and your weapon is lowered, then they can tell you to like disable your weapons. And you hit this button, you get like a 3-minute timer, like a little hourglass will show up in a corner or something where you can't use your weapons. Now when you're helpless and friendly like that, and you can't shoot back, they can like make you go, or they can try to get you to go somewhere. And if they get you to like a chain link fence or to a gate, or maybe to like a roof of a building where there's a pipe or something, they can maybe handcuff you to it for like 10 minutes on top of that 3 minutes. So once you're, they can't take your guns, but they're disabled. So once that timer runs out, you can take your pistol and you can shoot the handcuff off and you can get free. But that 10 minutes, you're like exposed. People who might walk by might be looking onto the roof and you'd be pretty fucked. But it's a fun little mechanic. I think it could be fun. So that was the hunter class and the cop class, I said. Okay, what was the other one? A nurse. That makes sense for a nurse to survive an apocalypse. Maybe she starts out with a blood bag. And her skill is that she's the only character that can blood bag herself. But she has to be near like a chain link fence or a gate or something where she can like hang it up and like, you know, do it to herself, to heal herself. Oh, the gun store owner. I don't know if that'll be different from the cop. But maybe one guy starts out with a toolbox so he can take down stuff because he's like tinkers with guns, he has tools. Maybe he can also hear the guns and what direction they're from, or maybe there'd be something else. I don't know if I thought of another skill or not. I can't remember. Oh, there needs to be a guy that's like a MMA fighter. He's stronger than the other players. What he can do is, when he's unarmed, he can put a guy in a sleeper hold from any direction. Doesn't have to be behind him. He just put him in a sleeper hold. They go unconscious for like a minute, 30 seconds or something. And during that time, you can like pick their pockets. You can't take their main weapons, but if you don't have any guns yourself, that's good because you can just put people in sleeper hold, go around the beach, find noobs, just put them in sleep states. And then also, if you have a, this would be for anybody, if you have a hunting knife and you sneak up behind somebody, you could like slit their throat. You could hold them and just, or you could hold them and then hold a knife to their throat if their friends nearby. That way you can like use them as a body shield. Tell them to put down their guns or disable their weapons, then you can let the guy go. Everybody's cool. Maybe you can force somebody to drop their guns and then take their gun by holding somebody at knife point. Or, if you have a gun, just hold them at gun point. That'd be cool. Also, the boats need to go way faster. Because the boats, I've only found one and it was like horribly slow. A lot of vehicle tweaking needs to go on. Graphically, I think everything's pretty good. Here's the main thing. This is the main thing that needs to happen. When you die, don't flush all the textures, models, and items and everything in the game. And the people. Because it takes 15 minutes sometimes to log back into the game. Just teleport you with no health and no weapons. Just find a random spawn. As soon as you die, poof, you're teleported. You're still in the game. Everything's still loaded. Everything's cached. No, like, reloading the whole game every time you die. That's bullshit. Especially with this kind of game. And if they added all this stuff that I'm talking about, all these mechanics like blood and stuff, it's going to take even longer to load. So they got to fix that. The load times is the main complaint, I think, from everybody. There also needs to be like a main objective, a main purpose. If you had people divided into factions, I think it would kind of mess the game up. It would ruin the mystique of it. Like, it'd be cool if you had like some bandits that would like try to set up ambush points and they all work together and they set up roadblocks and ambushes and they would try to stop you from going north. And the survivors try to go north and escape to like a helicopter LZ or something. But I don't know. I think what they should do is like if you go all the way north and you spend all this time from going from your spawn all the way to the top, then when you die, you would respawn with just your main weapon and the ammo that you had in your inventory. Like, you'd lose all your food and backpack and all that stuff, but you'd maybe get to keep your weapon or give it some reason to, like, go north. Because right now, like, there's not really a reason if you want to get a good gun, but then, like, nobody goes north anymore because all the hackers usually just show up and kill you. If they fix the hacking, there'd be reason to go north again, but there needs to be, like, a main objective besides just surviving. I don't know. Something. Also, if there's some kind of thing on the map that shows you like active areas. Like if somebody's in Electro, the whole thing of Electro will be in blue or something. That way you know somebody's there. Or if somebody's in like Pusta, the whole big mountain around Pusta, that big area will be lit up. And it would stay lit up until somebody left. Like there's nobody there, then you know that this place is pointless, there's no reason to go there. You'd see a general area of where might be a good place to go on the map instead of just going and never seeing anybody. That way, you wouldn't know where people are, but you would know like a general sense of maybe you'd run into somebody if you go in this direction. But then when somebody comes into it, it would keep it active. Like the first guy that comes into it makes it active. He leaves, somebody else comes in, so it's still active. So it wouldn't be like you couldn't camp like in the middle of nowhere. People still have to find you because it'd be like a giant blue area. And the area wouldn't be centered on you. It would just be like a general county kind of a map where like it would light up if somebody's in that county, that kind of thing. You could be right on the border of the county, but it would still light up like you're in that area. And it wouldn't like immediately flicker over so you could see when somebody just crossed the line, so you know somebody's right there on the border. It would take like a few minutes or something to change over. Maybe you could even have a class that when you find a radar tower, like there's one at Green Mountain, there's one at Basota. I don't think there's any at the castles. There might be some on top of certain buildings in the main cities. You could tap into it and you could broadcast a message within a certain range of anyone that's hearing it. Like maybe everybody has a radio on their inventory, like they're supposed to have from Armor 2. I don't know. That seems like it could be kind of annoying. You could fuck people over, play helicopter sounds or something. But that might be something to think about. Also, that wouldn't be too bad if you added a thing like if you're climbing a ladder. This would probably be really rare, probably wouldn't be necessary, but if you're climbing a ladder and somebody's below you, or a zombie's chasing you up a ladder, you can just kick them in the face and it forces them to do that drop ladder thing that you can do with scrolling your mouse wheel. So if they're really high up, you kick them in the face, they fall to their death, boom. You don't have to worry about people like chasing you up ladders. Another thing I'd like to see happen is the hatchet becoming one of your main weapons, that you don't have to take it out of your tool belt. Like it's always on your tool belt on the side. So when you scroll the mouse wheel to like change to your pistol, you can also change to your hatchet and just put your gun on your back and immediately take out the hatchet and start killing zombies. Otherwise, if you want to kill zombies silently and you have a good gun, you have to just drop your main gun on the ground, I guess, or put it in your backpack. It's the only way to do it. So that would be really nice if just like they add a hatchet to your main weapon inventory. I don't like this new thing they've added where the bandit system now, you start out as a bandit and then you change, like if you're in third person it changes your clothes, so it like warps out for a second and then you gotta go into first person, then you gotta switch back. They gotta get rid of that. That is super annoying. One little bitty thing is like when it rains, it makes your visibility down for a player, but zombies seem to see better in the rain. I don't know why, but zombies don't get affected by the rain. That needs to be tweaked. Lower their visibility when it rains. Also, it would be nice if you could like have a button to make you walk like a zombie, to like impersonate things. Some kind of fishing mechanic would be nice too. I don't know if that's really necessary because you have to have a pole and all this other crap, but I don't know. Maybe if you're near a pond and you shoot your gun at the pond, a fish floats up and you just take like a couple meat steaks off of it. Maybe that would work. Wouldn't hurt also if they added a way to choose your own spawns, or instead of spawning you randomly, maybe you're flying around an AC-130 and you just jump out when you want to parachute into the city where you want to spawn or something. That way you could spawn to the north, spawn to the south, or west, or there's like a couple spawns on the east, but they're kind of pointless. So if you could change it up a little bit, maybe like the middle of the map, the hard place to get to or something. So that's pretty much my list. I think that's all the stuff I'd come up with. But it's a lot of stuff, actually.